Community plays a really big role in my life. And it's something I've seen a lot of discourse about online, where people are saying things like, we don't have community the way that we used to. We are not able to rely on our neighbors as much. Our neighborhoods don't feel the same. And I think there's some truth to that, right? And it means something that a lot of people are talking about this. But I also think there's a point where we have to step back and say, okay, enough talking about the fact that there is a problem, and let's do something to address it. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about how we go about building community in our world today. Because we have really shifted to this very person-centered, individualistic society. And there are some benefits to that, but something we're really missing right now is community. And we can say all day long, I wish I had a community, but that's not doing anything to solve the problem. And in order to have a community of people, you have to meet people, or you can rely on the people you already know. So let's assume you don't know anyone. You've never met anybody in your entire life. How would you go about making friends? The way I would go about this is finding things that I'm interested in and trying to find people interested in the same things. So for me, that's going to be something like crafting. I might say, let's take up a crafting class and go meet people there. Let's go to the library and see if I can find anybody in the same section that I like to read. If you're not interested in crocheting, you're probably not gonna want to meet friends at a crochet class. Not to say you can't have friends who crochet, that's a different thing, but that's not gonna be your initial place to start looking. And yes, there are apps designed specifically for making friends. I think there's like Bumble BFF or something like that, where you're able to make friends online. And the idea is that you go on friend dates with them. But I think in the interest of building a real life community, you want to start with in real life communication. And the best way to go about doing that is to do some of the things that you enjoy doing and finding people who are already doing those things. Because they're going to have differences from you, right? Like they're not going to be exactly the same just because they like the same genre of book or they happen to be at the concert of your favorite band. But they're going to have something in common. And that's a key part in making friendships. Now, another big part of this is that most people don't just start out saying, I don't have anybody I've ever met in my entire life. I have complete amnesia. Most people have somebody in their phone that has been reaching out, or maybe that they've lost contact with. You can always reach back out to them. Reaching back out to old friends who you've once had a stronger connection with is a really good place to start as well. You can say, hey, I remember how we used to do this in high school or in college or in whatever stage of life that I knew this person in. What if we did something like that again, just for old time's sake? Or maybe you have someone that you've met that's like, oh my gosh, we should totally do something sometime, and you just never get around to doing it. It would probably mean a lot to that person for you to take that first step. The problem is that making friends is a lot easier whenever we're younger, and it looks like running around on the playground and saying, hey, do you want to be my friend? It's a little bit different as adults. It makes sense that it's scary. It's new territory for a lot of people. But if you want to build a community, you have to start there. You have to stop waiting on other people to do it for you. Another big part of community is the people that live around you. So knowing your neighbors is a really big part of this. Even if you live in an apartment, you probably have some events that your apartment complex throws, right? Or maybe you just have a gym that sometimes you go to and you see the same few people there every day. If you don't live in an apartment and you live in a house, maybe you go for a walk around your neighborhood and you say hi to your neighbors. You learn their names. You see if they ever need anything. You say, hey, here's my number just in case. I live 2 doors down from you. Let me know if you ever need anything. I'm over here. That's how you start, right? And you're not going into this with the idea that this person is going to be your best friend. Just that this is somebody else you could rely on if you needed to, eventually. The biggest thing about this is that you can't wish for a community out of thin air. You have to meet the people who are going to be in that community. Another piece is not assuming that they are going to be your best friends in the world. Not everybody's going to be. But there are different levels of friendship that you can have within your community. The second step in this plan is to show up. You have to be there. You don't have to be there for everything, but you have to be there for enough that you are considered to be part of this community. If every time you're invited to something you have something better to do, or you never make it a priority, that's fine, but you have to recognize that that is a choice that you are making. Nobody is there for everything, but if you want to be a part of something, you have to be a part of it. And if you're getting invites, that means that you are considered a part, and you have to continue to show interest, or people are gonna be like, well, they don't really seem interested, so I'm gonna stop inviting them. I don't want to bother them They don't seem like they actually want to hang out because I've invited them 4 times and they keep saying no. There's a caveat to this, because if you're just a very busy person and you know that you're most of the time going to have to say no, but you still want to be invited, most people are receptive to that. You can say, hey, I would love to go to this. I have this other thing going on that day, but please keep inviting me because I do want to hang out sometime. That goes a long way for a lot of people. Number 3, this is very important for me, inconveniencing yourself. I'm not talking about crossing boundaries. I'm talking about letting things kind of burden you. I saw this thing that said inconvenience is the price we pay for community. So part of being in a community is inconveniencing yourself. For me, this looks like next week my friends are moving and I've offered to watch their dogs. Is it an inconvenience for me to do that? 100%. But I am so glad to do it because these people mean a lot to me and I want to be able to show up for them in this way. And there are probably tons of people in your life that you're like, yeah, absolutely. I would drive 12 hours there and back to come get you if you needed it. I would inconvenience myself for you. That's part of community. That doesn't mean you have to break your boundaries or let people take advantage of you. Those are 2 very different things. But inconvenience is the price we pay for community, and it's worth it. I've also heard a lot recently, people want a village, but they don't want to be a villager. You have to be willing to put an effort into somebody else and into your community in order to get anything back from it. And I'm not saying you go into this with the mindset of, oh, I did something for them, so one day they'll do something for me, and that's what I want out of this. No. I think for the most part, people go, hey, I was a part of this person's community today, and that felt really nice. I got to help them out, and that felt like something good to do. And lots of times whenever we are doing things to help other people out, not to say that we're doing it for this benefit, but it helps us feel better about our efficacy and our ability to do things. There are so many quotes I would like to throw in here about this. There's one that's like, oh, loving me is rotten work. Well, not for me, not if it's you. Your community is the people that you choose to be inconvenienced for. And if you're never choosing that inconvenience, that means you're never choosing to be a part of something. And that's okay if that's your choice. But if we're going back to intention and focusing on the choices that we're making, you don't get to then turn around and say, well, I wish I had a big support system and I wish I had a big community, if you're not choosing to show up for other people either. I also want you to redefine what community looks like for you. So for a lot of people that I talk to, especially a lot of people my age, because growing up during the squad era where everybody had 50 best friends and they were constantly doing everything together, this warped our sense of what community and friendships were. It is not 20 of your best friends that you're going on a trip with. It's your 3 friends that you check in with daily. It's your 1 friend you call once a week. It's your parents maybe who you're talking to every other day or once a week, depending on your relationship. It's your siblings. It's your neighbors who you're seeing on your walk through your neighborhood. It's your coworkers. There are a lot of little communities that you should be pouring some amount of energy into if you want to build them. But expecting people to just show up for you when you've given them no chance to even get to know you, it's not a fair expectation. When you focus on the sustainable, real-life human connection based on shared interests, shared goals, shared living spaces, you're going to find people who care a lot more, and that's going to be more fulfilling. Another thing I hear a lot is, I wish I had a group of friends to do this with. Being okay with doing things alone is going to be your best friend, and it sounds so counterintuitive. But if you are okay doing the things that you like by yourself, you're more likely to meet other people who are just as interested as you are. But also being okay with hosting. A big part of this is that community gathers, but they typically gather where they are hosted. You have to be okay with being the one to say, you know what? I want to have a garden tea party because I want to, so I'm going to invite my friends, and they may think it's silly, but maybe 2 of them will show up. And maybe they'll invite their friends who also don't think that having a garden tea party is too silly. And then eventually, this might become a monthly thing. You have to host the things you want. It's hard. It's not going to be perfect, but it's worth it. I'm going to keep saying this. It's not going to be perfect. It will be worth it. It's gonna be work though. So why does this matter? Why am I pouring my heart into this video to talk to random people on the internet about this? When we build community, we're building safety nets for each other. We're saying, hey, you know what? I don't know anything about this thing you're asking me, but I know somebody who might. Let me call them. Okay, yeah, I heard back from them. They use this doctor. They use this. They do that. We build these webs where we can pass information along them and help each other out. We share resources. We share emotional support. And hopefully, eventually, we will start to remember that we don't have to do this life alone. Yes, we can, but that doesn't mean that we have to. And in a world that is constantly pushing us towards hyper-independence, building community is a little bit of a rebellion. So if you're somebody who's been looking for deeper connection, you don't have to wait for somebody else to create it. You can start small, find your spaces, redefine what it looks like, and show up imperfectly. Community isn't something that just happens naturally. It's something that has to be built, and it can start with you. If this resonated, let me know in the comments what community looks like for you, or maybe what kind of community you're hoping to build. And if you're interested in more videos about intentional living, I'm your girl. I'll see you in 2 weeks.